Everybody, it's Mike Milnerick here, and today I am here to talk about the importance of a daily routine. Now, the big thing that we are always trying to develop is consistency. And, I tell my students that one of the things that you need to be able to do is, first off, is have good rhythm, pitch, and time. Should we learn how to play musically? Of course we should. That's a very important thing. But we have to go through things called function exercises that actually work in a sense that it is focusing on us basically being in a box, sort of. And what I mean by that is that each day, if we do the same exercise each day and we do it correctly, and we're doing it accurately, then we are developing consistency to play well. So, with a daily routine, we want to cover a lot of different aspects of playing our instrument. Think of it kind of like a pilot's checklist. So, you really don't want a pilot to take that plane off the ground until all systems have been checked and are ready to go. So think about that the same way in your playing. Now, is a daily routine the same thing as a warm-up? Well, there are some exercises in a daily routine that can get you warmed up, and that's a matter of just getting blood into your face and kind of getting, if you're talking about a brass instrument, then we're trying to get a thicker cushion here by getting blood in our lips. Now, this goes for all instruments. This isn't just for brass players. So a daily routine is very important to cover those rhythm, pitch, time, all of those things, range, all the things that we want to make sure that we can produce. So what's interesting about it is, like, for me, for instance, when I get done with my daily routine, I have played in all registers, and I have played in my high extreme register, and I played in the low extreme register. And by doing that, the music that I'm going to see on a music stand is most likely not going to be as high or as low as what I actually am able to do on my instrument. So I am overtraining, and that is also training your brain to think that this stuff's all mid register. This isn't as difficult. This is, it's easier. So, because it really is easy. And when we talked about before, I mentioned in a couple other videos that habits are the most important thing. And when you're trying to do a lot of things all at the same time, think about a piece of music. You're trying to think about the musicality, the shape of the phrase, articulation, the dynamics, the note lengths, the rhythm, everything, all those things, and there's more than that. If we are trying to think about all of those things all at the same time, it makes it very difficult. It's difficult to do that because we are thinking about way too much, and you can't think about multiple things at the same time. That's kind of one of the things that people don't realize, is that you can't think of multiple things at the same time. There is a thing that your brain does that you can switch very quickly between things, but you can't think of everything at the same time. So what happens? Thinking of things is a conscious effort. When we have a habit, it's a subconscious effort. So the subconscious kicks in and it just does things. So if we take various aspects of playing and we break it down into small digestible things, very easy things to work on until we get it so that it's a habit, then when we go back and we're playing a piece of music, all those habits start kicking in. So it's subconscious. It's not you're thinking about all that stuff. It's got to be there already. So we may have an issue where, like, we're sitting down for the first time and we're playing a piece of music that we haven't seen before. We're sight reading. But at that point, you're really thinking about just like, well, what's the notes and what's the rhythms, what's the musical line? But so many other things are already habitual that it automatically shows up when you're playing those things. So it's very important to kind of think from that perspective that we're doing individual things to develop a good habit so that they are subconscious. And then we take all of these different habits and we put them together. So enter daily routine. Daily routine is going to have all those little aspects. And, I have a basic daily routine that I do every day. I practice what I preach. So the daily routine that I give my students is actually the same as the one I do, with some slight modifications at this point, because I've been doing it since 2006. Or halfway through 2005, actually. So I've had some modifications a little bit along the way for myself. Then the other thing I do is later on I do advanced daily routine kind of things, where I'm working more on advanced techniques like flexibility, some more range type things, all that stuff. But I've gotten through the basic things. So if you learn all of the basic things and you do those every day, that means that your level is going to stay at a certain point. Really. It doesn't mean that you don't have to practice. Don't get that wrong. We still have to practice, because these are muscles like any other muscle in our body. So we have to make sure that they're strong and that they're actually working for us. But the big thing is that as long as we practice regularly and our chops are strong, then it's a matter of that we do this every day, and that will be our baseline. That means we're not going to probably play worse than that, playing all of those exercises correctly up to the tempo. Now, if the tempo goes faster than what we do in the daily routine for something, what happens? Well, if we haven't practiced at those tempos, we may have some trouble. That's why, like in advanced routine, I also work on faster single tonguing. I work on multiple tonguing, double and triple tonguing. So all of that stuff is really important. So it's fundamentals, and I can't stress that enough. And every one of my colleagues that is actually worth their weight, which they are, because I have great colleagues, will tell you all the same thing, that you have to make sure you pay attention to the fundamentals. Is it boring at times? Yeah, it can be boring. But the number one thing you got to remember here is that it's a means to an end. We are trying to do these basic fundamental things so that we eventually get to a point where music is easier for us to play. And then when music is easier for us to play, we have more types of music that we can play. And then it just makes it more fun. It makes it more exciting because we can do a lot of different kinds of things. So that's the really important thing today, is to get into a daily routine that starts off easy, just doesn't do anything too crazy, and then just kind of keeps building from there. I have a daily routine that I wrote. It took me a year and a half of experimenting with it to get things in the right order and everything, so that I felt like my face was responding the way I wanted it to, and that this exercise was better to do before this exercise. And so it absolutely works. Now, is it the end-all be-all routine? Of course not. I mean, I get results from it. I get results from it. My students get results from it. And the people that come to my camps, they get results from it. So I know that it works, and I know that it improves people's playing. But there's lots and lots and lots of daily routines out there. And it's a matter of that you have to find the ones that work for you. And and how that routine is helping you to see progress. If you're not making progress, it becomes no fun. It becomes a chore that you have to practice. So we have to actually make sure that we are spending the time doing the basic fundamentals, sometimes the boring stuff, but the more we do that and we do it correctly, the better we are at it. So once that stuff gets all solid and it's working really well, then here's what happens. Let's say you want to be a freelancer, or there's a group that has an opening for your instrument. What's one of the things that they want to have? Well, they want to have a person that can play the instrument well and fits in with their group. So if this is a high-level group, their rhythm is going to be very accurate. Their pitch is going to be very accurate. The players are going to have advanced abilities. If you want to play in a group like that, then you have to be able to line that rhythm, pitch, and time up, and so you can just fit into that vacancy that they need you for, whether it's short term or long term, and everything around you is working together as a machine. Now, don't get me wrong. I mean, there's all different levels of groups, and people have all different levels of interest in music, and people have all different levels of involvement in music because they may be doing something else as their career, and music is something fun for them, and that's all they do. That's great, and there's nothing wrong with that at all. The more people that play an instrument, the better. But the big thing to kind of keep in mind is, if you at least go through some fundamental routine stuff, you're going to remember things, and you're going to play better, and you're going to enjoy it more. That's the bottom line. So one of my exercises is an articulation exercise that I do, and it's very simple, and I'm like, probably everybody has this in their routine, is basically you're just going now, then I go down a half step, go up, all this stuff. So I'm doing that. What happens? Well, I'm working on my single tongue. I'm trying to get that more accurate, but it is also helping me to subdivide, because I hear this the whole time. I hear da 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 da. Now think about that dotted 8/16 rhythm. Da 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 da. That is one of the rhythms that more people make mistakes on, because too many times somebody says to them, hey, your dotted 8/16 isn't correct. You got to make the 16th shorter. Or they say your dotted 8/16 isn't correct. You got to make the 16th note longer. That kind of thing. But shorter and longer is all relative. If I have a tempo and I'm subdividing, it actually has a specific length. All four of those 16th notes within a quarter note, within one beat, has a specific length. So if I'm doing on a daily basis da 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 da, and then I want to go back, and it's not part of my exercise, but if I want to go back, or if I see a dotted 8/16 rhythm that day, I can think da 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 da. The rhythm is much better. It should line up. So these are little things that actually really help our playing. And if you hear somebody that's a really good player, you know that they have been working on lots of fundamentals, and they have built their playing from the ground up, that they're actually got a solid foundation, and they're trying to build on top of that. So I hope this helps. I'm going to, down below someplace, maybe it's over here, maybe it's over there, I don't know how it's going to line up yet. I'll try to put a picture of my daily routine books. But this is something that you want to really think about, and hopefully you can get yourself into a daily routine, and hopefully you can build consistency in your playing. Have a great day.